The sun rose behind the tall alien towers of New Earth City. The buildings were huge, made of smooth black glass and glowing blue lights. They reached high into the sky like mountains. These towers were not made by humans. They were built by the Zarn, the alien race that came to Earth many years ago and now ruled everything. On the side of one of the towers, a man hung by a thin wire. He wore a gray suit and held a small cleaning device in his hand. His name was Tomir, a poor window cleaner. Every day, he cleaned the glass walls of the alien towers, one window at a time. The work was hard, dangerous, and paid very little. But Tomir never complained. He had someone to take care of, his 12-year-old son. As he worked, Tomir looked at his reflection in the glass. His face was thin. His eyes had dark circles. His hands shook a little. He felt a pain deep in his chest, but he kept working. He had been sick for months now. It started as a cough. Then came the fever. The doctor said it was a rare illness that had spread from alien dust in the towers. It had no cure. Tomir knew he didn't have much time left, but he didn't tell Rian. Not yet. Back at home, in a small metal room in the lower district, Rian was waiting. Their house was small, with only 2 beds, 1 old table, and a cracked screen on the wall. Rian sat near the window, reading an old book about spaceships. He loved learning about machines, stars, and alien languages. He wanted to become a pilot one day. A real one. He looked up as the door opened. Tomir walked in slowly, tired from the long day. He tried to smile. "You're back." Rian jumped up and hugged his father. "Yes, I'm back," Tomir said softly, putting his hand on Rian's head. "How was your day?" "I fixed the cooking machine. It works now," Rian said proudly. Tomir smiled again. "That's good, my son." "Very good." They ate a small dinner of nutrient packs. After that, Rian went to bed. Tomir sat quietly in the dark, listening to the boy's soft breathing. He placed his hand on his chest. The pain was worse now. He could feel his body growing weaker. "I don't have much time," he whispered to himself. Later that night, when Rian was asleep, Tomir walked to the wall behind the table. He pressed a hidden switch. The metal wall opened with a soft click. Inside was a small, glowing cube. It pulsed with blue light. This was his secret. Years ago, when Tomir was cleaning the windows of the highest alien tower, he found something. A small cube left behind in a broken panel. It looked like alien tech, but he didn't know what it was. He took it, hid it, and kept it safe all these years. One night, out of curiosity, he gave the cube to his friend Mara, a former engineer who used to work on alien machines before humans were banned from technical jobs. Mara studied the cube for many weeks. When she gave it back, she looked serious. "This is not just alien tech," she told him. "It's something more, a power source, a living AI maybe. It connects to other systems. It can change things, even people." Tomir understood what it meant. The cube could give someone great power, not for fighting, but for unlocking knowledge, for touching alien systems, for becoming something more, but he never used it on himself. He saved it for Rian. Now, standing in the dark room, Tomir looked at the cube again. "My boy," he said, tears in his eyes. "I cannot go with you, but maybe this can help you reach where I never could." He closed the wall and went to bed. The next morning, Tomir sat with Rian, watching him eat. "Rian," he said quietly, "what do you want to be when you grow up?" "I want to fly ships," Rian said quickly. "Real ships. Not like the food. Drones, big ones, like the Zarn fly." "Why?" Tomir asked. Rian thought for a moment. "Because they go beyond the sky. They are free," Tomir nodded. "That's a good dream." There was a pause. "Rian, would you do something if it was dangerous, but it could help you be something more?" Rian looked confused. Like what? Like becoming something different. Learning things no other human can. Going where others cannot go. I don't know. You're strong. Smarter than me. Braver too, Tomir said with a smile. You can be something great. Rian looked down. Are you okay, Papa? Tomir hesitated. I'm just tired. That's all. He placed his hand on his son's shoulder. But I want you to have a better life. One I couldn't give you. Outside, the sky turned red as the Zarn warships flew over the city. The loud hum of their engines filled the air. People looked up, but no one spoke. This was normal now, but inside a small house in the lower city, something special was beginning. A father was preparing to give his final gift. Not gold, not land, but something far more powerful. Hope. And a chance for his son to live a new life. The next morning, Tomir woke up early. The sky outside was still dark, and the city lights blinked like stars. He sat on the edge of his bed, breathing slowly. His chest hurt more today. He knew the time was coming close. Rian was still asleep, holding an old toy ship in his hands. Tomir watched him for a moment, smiling with love and sadness in his eyes. Then, quietly, Tomir opened the hidden wall behind the table again. The glowing cube was still there, pulsing with soft blue light. It looked peaceful, but he knew it held great power. He picked up the cube and placed it in a small cloth bag. He tied it tight and hid it inside his coat. Today, he was going to meet someone he hadn't seen in many months. Tomir left a note for Rian. Went to see an old friend. Be back soon. Don't worry. Papa. He walked through the narrow streets of the lower district. People moved slowly, tired from hard work. Machines buzzed, drones flew overhead, and alien patrols passed by without looking at the humans. Tomir walked past broken buildings until he reached a quiet area near the old factories. There was a small shop with a metal door. The sign above. It read, Repairs and Dreams. He knocked 3 times. The door opened slowly, and a tall woman with dark hair and sharp eyes looked out. Tomir? She said, Is it really you? Yes, Mara, he replied. I need your help. Inside the shop, strange machines filled the shelves. Old tools, wires, parts of alien tech, all carefully cleaned and organized. Mara had once been a top engineer, working with the Zarn before they banned humans from science jobs. Now she lived quietly, fixing things for people who still remembered her skills. You look worse, she said as Tomir sat down. I am worse, he said with a weak smile. But I didn't come for help for me. She raised an eyebrow. Then why? Tomir slowly took out the glowing cube from his coat. Mara's eyes widened. You still have it, she whispered. I kept it safe, Tomir said. And now, I want to use it. On yourself? She asked. No, on Rian. Mara stood up quickly. That's dangerous, Tomir. It's alien tech. We don't know how it works fully. It could hurt him. Tomir looked at her calmly. He's my son. He's smart, brave. I don't want him to live and die like me, cleaning windows until his body breaks. I want him to have a chance, a real chance. Mara sat down slowly. You're serious? I'm dying, Mara, Tomir said. Maybe weeks, maybe less. This is the only thing I can leave behind. Not money, not land, just possibility. Mara looked at the cube again. She had studied it for years in secret. It was a data key, a power core, and something more. It connected with machines, systems, maybe even minds. It could read alien code and control tech. She believed it had been part of a Zarn learning system, one that was never meant to fall into human hands. If we do this, she said, he may change. I know, Tomir said, but he will live, and he will be more than what I could ever be. Mara nodded slowly. Fine, but we need to prepare his body. The cube must connect with his nervous system. It will not be painful, but he must accept it. Mind and heart. Tomir stood up. Tell me what I need to do. Later that evening, Tomir returned home. Rian was sitting on the floor, looking worried. Papa, where were you? I told you, Tomir said gently. I was with an old friend. You didn't answer your communicator. I know, Tomir said, sitting down. I had something important to do, something for you. Rian looked confused. For me? Tomir pulled out the cube from the bag. It glowed brighter now. Rian's eyes widened. What is that? Tomir held it in both hands. This is something special, he said. It's from the Zarn Towers. I found it years ago. I kept it hidden until now. Rian stood slowly. What does it do? It holds knowledge, Tomir said. Power, understanding. It can connect with alien systems. It can make you more. Rian took a step back. Why are you showing me this? Tomir took a deep breath. Because I want to give it to you. There was silence for a moment. Rian looked at his father, unsure. Why me? Because I'm sick, Rian, Tomir finally said. I didn't want to tell you, but I don't have much time left. Rian's eyes filled with tears. No, don't say that. It's true, Tomir said softly. I've been sick for months. I tried to fight it, but I can't win this. He placed the cube on the table, but I can give you something. A chance. With this you can learn things no one else can. You can escape this life. You can help others. Rian looked at the glowing cube. Will it hurt? No, it will join with you. Gently, but you must choose. Rian stood silently. He looked at his father's tired face, at the shaking hands, at the love in his eyes. Then he nodded. If it helps you and helps others, I'll do it, Tomir smiled. Good boy. The next day, they went back to Mara's workshop. She had prepared a small machine, a soft bed, lights and wires connected to the cube. Lie down, she told Rian gently. Rian looked at his father. Tomir nodded. Rian lay down. The cube was placed on his chest. It started to glow brighter. Soft light covered his body. Rian closed his eyes. The machine hummed. Symbols appeared in the air. Alien symbols. The cube began connecting with Rian's brain and nerves. Mara watched carefully. Tomir stood quietly, his hands clenched. Then it was done. Rian opened his eyes. They had a new light inside them. A soft blue glow. I can feel everything, he whispered. Tomir stepped forward. You're ready, he said. And deep inside, Tomir felt something he hadn't felt in a long time. Hope. Rian sat quietly on the chair in Mara's workshop. The room was silent except for the soft humming of the glowing cube now resting near his heart. It had joined with him, not as a machine, but like a part of him. His fingers tingled and strange. Symbols floated in front of his eyes even when they were closed. He could hear faint electronic voices from machines around him, like whispers trying to speak to him. Mara checked a small screen connected to her tools. His body accepted the cube completely. That means he's special. Tomir stood beside her, weak but proud. His face was pale and sweat covered his forehead, but he managed to smile. He's always been special, Tomir whispered. That night they returned home. Rian helped his father walk slowly through the narrow streets. The city looked different to Rian now. He could feel the systems inside the buildings, the electric paths, the locks, even the invisible sensors of Zarn machines. He didn't tell his father everything yet. He didn't want to worry him. Inside their home, Tomir sat on his bed with a tired breath. Rian brought him water and covered him with a blanket. You should rest, Papa. Tomir nodded. I will. But first, tell me, how do you feel? Rian sat on the floor beside him. Strange, but strong. It's like something woke up inside me. I can understand things I never knew before. Tomir smiled faintly. Then, It worked. Rian held his father's hand. Why did you do this? Why didn't you keep it for yourself? Tomir looked at him softly. Because my life is ending, Rian, but yours is just beginning. I wanted you to be free. Not like me, stuck to the side of towers. There was a long pause. Will you be okay? Rian asked. Tomir didn't answer. His eyes closed slowly. I'm proud of you, he whispered. Days passed. Tomir became weaker, staying in bed most of the time. Rian took care of him, cooking, cleaning, and making sure he had medicine. But all the while, something inside Rian was changing. He could see patterns in machines. When he touched a broken food unit, it started working again. When he passed by a locked Zarn gate, it beeped softly and unlocked for him. Mara visited one evening to check on him. You're adapting faster than I expected, she said. Sometimes I feel like I know what the machines want before I touch them, Rian replied. That's not normal human ability, Mara said. The cube is not just tech. It's something the Zarn made to evolve minds, maybe even their own young. So why did they throw it away? Rian asked. Maybe because it worked too well, Mara answered quietly. That night, Rian sat alone, outside their small home, watching the stars. He remembered stories his father told him about space travel, about Earth before the Zarn came. I want to help people, he whispered, not just escape. Suddenly, he heard coughing from inside. He rushed in. Tomir was sitting up, gasping for air. His chest moved up and down fast. Rian held him carefully and gave him water. I'm okay. Just tired, Tomir said weakly. Papa, I can ask Mara for more medicine. Tomir stopped him. With a hand on his arm, no, Rian, listen to me. My time is near. I can feel it, but I'm not afraid. Tears filled Rian's eyes. Don't say that. You'll be fine, Tomir smiled sadly. I won't, but you will. He reached under his bed and took out an old box. Inside it were papers, old photos, and a small device, a data key. What's this? Rian asked. My last message. If something happens to me, I want you to play this. No, you'll stay with me. Rian cried. Tomir placed his hand on Rian's cheek. I gave you a new life. Now promise me. You'll use it to help others. Promise me you won't hide. Rian nodded slowly, crying, I promise. 2 days later, it happened. Tomir passed away peacefully in his sleep, holding the photo of Rian as a baby. The city did not stop. The towers still hummed. The alien patrols still flew over the rooftops. But inside that small home, something powerful had ended. And something even more powerful had just begun. Rian stood beside the bed, looking down at his father's still face. He didn't cry now. The tears had already come. He took a deep breath, picked up the data key, and placed it into their old screen. Tomir's face appeared on the screen, smiling. If you're seeing this, I am gone, the message began. But I want you to know, I never felt rich. I never had power. But I had you, and that made me the luckiest man on earth. Rian wiped a tear from his face. You are more than you know, the message continued. You will be a light in the dark. Go where I never could. Help people. Change things. Be free. Then the screen turned off. That night, Rian walked through the city streets, his eyes glowing faint blue. He passed by hungry children, broken machines, and tired workers. He stopped at a broken water pipe and touched it. A second later, water flowed. People stared. He didn't speak. He just smiled and moved on. In the Zarn control tower, miles away, a signal appeared on their screens. A human energy pattern, but mixed with something alien. A strange code was spreading. The Zarn commander narrowed his eyes. Send a seeker. He ordered. Something is changing. But Rian didn't know that yet. He only knew that his father had given him a gift, a chance to make a better world, and now, it was time to use it. The streets of New Earth City were cold and quiet in the early morning. The sky was dark gray, and the alien towers cast long shadows over the poor districts. In the lower part of the city, people were waking up, getting ready for another hard day. Some would clean buildings, some would carry heavy loads, and some would fix broken machines, all under the rule of the Czarn. But today, something was different. Rian stood on the rooftop of his building, looking at the horizon. The glowing cube inside him pulsed softly, and he could feel the flow of energy in the city. Machines whispered to him. Lights blinked when he walked by. He no longer felt like a regular boy. He was something new, a mix of human and alien knowledge. His father's words stayed in his heart. Be free, help others, don't hide. Below the rooftop, a food machine had stopped working again. People were waiting in line, tired and hungry. The machine had not given food for 3 days, and the workers had reported it, but no one came to fix it. Rian walked down and stood near the machine. A small girl looked at him and said, "It's broken. You can't fix it. The Czarn don't care." Rian didn't answer. He placed his hand on the side of the machine. The cube inside him lit up. Blue light ran across the metal, and symbols floated in front of Rian's eyes. He understood the code. It was simple now, like reading a book. With a thought, he reset the system. The machine made a soft beep and came back to life. Hot food began to drop into the trays. People stared in surprise. The little girl smiled. "You fixed it," Rian smiled back. No one should go hungry. News spread fast. People whispered about a boy who could fix machines with a touch. Some said he had alien power. Others said he was a ghost. But most just called him the Lightborn. Rian didn't stop. He helped quietly, opening stuck doors, fixing broken wires, healing water lines, and restarting dead power cells. Everywhere he went, hope began to grow. He still returned to Mara every evening. She checked his body and brain waves. "You're changing fast," she said. "The cube is unlocking more power inside you every day. Is it dangerous?" Rian asked. "Maybe," Mara said softly. "But not if your heart stays true." But far away, in the Czarn High Tower, alarms were ringing. A seeker, a special hunter used by the Czarn, had arrived on Earth. Tall, dark and silent, it could track energy signals across the planet. It didn't speak. It only followed orders. The commander showed it the signal map. "Something new has appeared, a hybrid signal. Find it, remove it." The seeker turned and vanished into the sky, heading toward the lower city. That night, Rian sat by a broken park in Sector 9. A group of kids gathered around him. Some brought broken toys or old devices. "Can you fix this?" One boy asked, holding a broken music player. Rian nodded and touched it. It came back to life with soft music. The children clapped. An old woman nearby watched him closely. She slowly walked over and said, "Who are you?" Rian stood. "Just a boy," she smiled. "You're more than that. You're the spark we've been waiting for." Suddenly the air became cold. Rian turned around. A strange sound like buzzing metal filled the sky. A dark figure appeared above the rooftops, floating slowly. The seeker had found him. People screamed and ran. Rian stood still, heart pounding. The seeker dropped to the ground and pointed a long metal arm at him. A bright red light began to glow. "Target locked," a robotic voice said. "Eliminate." Rian raised his hands. His cube glowed bright blue. The red light from the seeker hit an invisible wall around him and bounced away. Rian was not ready to fight, but he could protect. Seeker moved forward fast, arms spinning like blades. Rian jumped back and touched a broken power line. Electricity flowed into his hands. He sent a wave of blue energy at the seeker. It crashed into a wall but stood back up, stronger than before. Rian ran, leading the seeker away from the people. He jumped over fences, through alleys, over broken buildings. The seeker followed like a shadow. Finally, Rian reached Mara's workshop. "Mara! Help!" She opened the door just as the seeker arrived. Rian ran inside. Mara pressed a button, and the metal wall dropped between them and the attacker. "Get down!" she shouted. The seeker blasted the wall with red fire, shaking the ground. Rian sat up, breathing hard. "They're hunting me." "Yes," Mara said. "They know now. You're not just a helper. You're a threat." "I didn't want this," Rian whispered. "I know," she said. "But now you must choose. You can hide forever, or stand and fight for others." Rian looked at her, eyes glowing bright. "I'll fight. Not to destroy, but to bring change." Mara opened a drawer and pulled out a small device. "This connects to the city's power grid. If you can control it, you can send a message, a real message. Not just to humans, but to the Zarn too." Rian placed his hand on the device. The cube pulsed with light. He closed his eyes. Then he spoke, and the words echoed through every screen. "In the city, we are not your tools. We are not your shadows. We are human. We are learning. We are rising." Every worker, every child, every elder saw the message. Some cried. Some cheered. The Zarn saw it far away, in a hidden room of the Zarn Tower. A younger alien soldier looked at the screen and whispered, "Maybe they're not so weak after all." That night, Rian didn't sleep. He stood on the roof again, looking at the stars. His father's voice echoed in his mind. "Shine, my son. Don't hide. Shine." And he did. The city was no longer the same. After Rian's message was broadcast across every screen, every machine, and every street speaker, something changed in the hearts of the people. It was like a quiet fire had been lit. For years, humans had worked under alien control, heads down, spirits broken. But now they looked up, and they whispered one name, Rian. Some called him the Lightborn. Others called him the Spark. But all of them knew this boy had done something the aliens feared. He gave people hope. But with hope came danger. The Zarn commanders were angry. They saw Rian's message not just as words, but as rebellion. They knew the cube technology had been lost long ago. Now it had returned, inside a human child. The Seeker, though damaged during the last fight, had tracked his signal again. This time, it wouldn't fail. Inside Mara's workshop, Rian sat in silence, looking at a glowing map projected on the wall. Small red dots blinked across it. Zarn patrols were moving toward Sector 9, Sector 11, and Sector 15, all places where Rian had helped people. "They're closing in," Mara said. "They know where you've been." "I thought helping people would be enough," Rian said. Quietly, fixing machines, sending a message. "I didn't think it would bring war." Mara sat beside him. "Sometimes helping people is the greatest threat to those in power." He looked down at his hands. Blue sparks still danced across his fingers. "I never wanted to fight." "You don't have to," Mara said. "But you have to survive and keep leading." Suddenly, the lights in the room blinked. The wall screen flashed red. "Warning. Zarn drone unit detected nearby." Rian stood up. "They found us." Outside, the air shook with the sound of engines. A dark drone flew over the buildings, scanning with red beams. Soldiers in black suits followed behind it, their arms glowing with alien weapons. Mara opened a hidden door in the back of her workshop. "Go through the tunnels. I'll slow them down." "What about you?" Rian asked. "I'll catch up later." "Go now." Rian ran through the tunnel as the door closed behind him. He could hear a loud explosion above. Dust fell from the ceiling. But he kept running. The tunnel led to the old power station under Sector 7. Rian came out into the open, gasping for air, but the streets were quiet here. No one lived in this broken area anymore. He looked around, then touched a nearby wall. The cube in his chest glowed, and a hidden system came online. A small map appeared, showing escape routes and danger zones. Rian followed the safest path, but he wasn't alone. High above, the Seeker watched from a tall building. It didn't speak. It didn't rush. It just moved, silent and deadly. Rian reached the center of Sector 7 and hid behind a metal wall. He placed both hands on the ground and sent a soft pulse into the city's systems. Machines responded to him like old friends. He found cameras, door locks, and even heating systems in nearby buildings. He used them to create a maze, opening and closing pathways behind him to block the soldiers. But the Seeker wasn't fooled. It moved through the traps, breaking down barriers one by one. It was learning. Back near the old shelter, Rian found a group of poor families hiding underground. One of the mothers gasped when she saw him. "You're the boy." "The one from the message," he nodded. "You need to leave this area. The Zarn are coming." "They blocked the exits," another man said. "We're trapped." Rian looked around. He saw broken fans, old wiring, and a collapsed metal beam. In his mind, he saw how to rebuild it, how to create a door, how to restart the ventilation. "I can open the path," he said. He got to work. Sparks flew as he touched wires. The cube glowed. The air systems turned on again, and the wall opened to show a tunnel that led to Sector 6. The people looked at him with wonder. Some bowed. Others touched his shoulder. "Thank you," they whispered. But before he could respond, a loud crash echoed above. The Seeker had arrived. Rian turned to the group. "Go now." The families ran through the tunnel as the Seeker dropped from the ceiling in front of Rian. "Hybrid detected," it said coldly. "You are not allowed to exist." Rian stood firm. "I didn't ask for this, but I won't run anymore." The Seeker raised its arm and red fire shot out. Rian threw up a shield of light. The fire exploded in the air around him. The cube in his chest glowed brighter than ever before. Rian focused. He didn't think like a soldier. He didn't want to destroy, but he could protect. He could guide energy, control systems, and redirect attacks. He touched the wall beside him. The metal rippled and turned into a mirror. The Seeker's fire bounced back, hitting it hard and sending it flying. Backward, Rian ran. Not away, but toward a higher point. He climbed up the building next to the shelter, reaching the rooftop. The city lights below looked like stars. The Seeker flew up after him, damaged but still strong. "You cannot lead them," it said. "You are one. They are many. Fear will return." Rian stood tall. "I'm not alone," he said. "Look," he raised his hand and blue light shot into the sky. It spread across rooftops, windows, and towers. In every corner of the city. Humans saw the signal. People who had been silent for years began to move. They stepped out of their homes. They stood in groups. They raised their hands. They lit fires. And they whispered together, "We are not afraid." The Seeker paused, confused. Rian walked forward. "You don't understand us. You rule by fear. But when we stand together, fear dies." The Seeker tried to strike again, but Rian sent a shockwave of light into its chest. The machine broke apart and crashed to the ground. Rian stood over it, breathing hard. He didn't cheer. He didn't shout. He simply looked up. The people of New Earth City had awakened. And the boy they once called poor, the boy who once cleaned alien glass with tired hands, had become their light. The next morning was not quiet. From every part of New Earth City, people stepped out of their homes. Workers, teachers, old men, young children, and even street vendors stood on rooftops and roads. They didn't hold weapons. They didn't scream, but they were not afraid anymore. Rian's light had changed them. Rian sat on top of a tall building with his back against a wall. His chest still glowed softly, the cube inside him dimming now after the long fight with the Seeker. His hands shook, not from fear, but from power that had almost burned him inside. Mara climbed up beside him. Her jacket was covered in dust, and her face had a small cut. But she smiled. "You survived," she said. "Barely," Rian answered, trying to smile back. "You didn't just survive, Rian," she said. "You showed them what we forgot. That one spark can light 1,000 fires." He looked over the edge at the people gathering below. "Now what?" he asked. The answer came quickly. A loud noise echoed in the sky. 3 massive Zarn ships descended from the clouds. They weren't just drones. These were war-class ships made for control, fear, and destruction. A voice spoke from them, loud and cold. "You are humans. You belong to us. Return to order, or be erased." People looked up, silent for a moment. Then an old man raised a flag. Not a weapon, just a flag made of stitched rags, glowing with blue light. Behind him, a girl lit a signal fire. Another man climbed the wall and painted a sign. "We are alive." Inside the command center of the Zarn, a tall figure named Vrel watched with sharp eyes. He was not like the Seeker. He had a mind of his own, full of pride and strategy. "Why do they resist?" he asked his second officer. "We gave them food, machines, systems. Why now?" "They follow the boy," the officer replied. "He is not like the others." "Then break him," Vrel said coldly. "Send the iron beasts. Burn the outer sectors. They will kneel." Back in Sector 6, Rian stood before a group of people. They had come from all over. Some walked for hours through dark tunnels just to find him. One woman stepped forward. "We heard your message. We believe you, but we don't know how to fight." "You don't need weapons to fight," Rian said. "You need unity. We fix our city. We help each other. And we protect what the Zarn want to crush, our spirit." A young boy raised his hand. "But what if they destroy us?" "Then we rebuild," Rian said firmly. "Again and again, until they understand we are not weak." Rian knew time was short. He split the group into teams. Some repaired broken communication lines. Others reconnected old transport trains underground. The builders cleaned and powered up ancient towers. Rian gave each group instructions through the light inside him, showing them how systems could work. Again, in less than 2 days, a part of the city that was forgotten began to shine again. The Zarn didn't understand this kind of fight. It wasn't war. It was rebirth. On the 3rd day, the Iron Beasts arrived. Tall, 4-legged machines with red eyes stomped through the outer edge of Sector 9. Their goal was clear: destroy anything that glowed with human hope. But the people were ready. Old train tunnels were turned into traps. Broken construction cranes became swinging arms. Old power grids were turned into force fields. Rian's designs had given the people tools, not weapons. One by one, the Iron Beasts fell, not because of guns, but because humans worked together. Vrel watched from his ship with growing anger. "How can they stop our machines?" he growled. His officer answered, "They are using the city itself against us. They are using the boy's designs. Then we take him," Vrel said. "End this now." Late that night, Rian sat alone in a quiet place under the stars. The city hummed gently. Machines repaired, lights shining, people singing from rooftops. For the first time in years, joy had returned. But Rian didn't smile. He felt something coming. His father's voice echoed in his heart. "Your life will be more than mine ever was. But it will not be easy." Rian closed his eyes. Suddenly, he heard footsteps. He turned. A group of children stood nearby, holding small glowing lights. One girl stepped forward. "We made these with your instructions," she said. "We want to help too." Rian knelt and looked at the little light dot. It was warm, bright, simple. "Thank you," he said softly. "You are the real future." That night, Vrel launched the final strike. He led a team of elite Zarn soldiers straight into the city's heart. They wore armor that couldn't be broken. They carried weapons that bent energy. They came for one purpose: to take the boy. But they were not ready for what they saw. They found not one boy, but a city standing like one body. People formed walls with their own hands. Machines danced with the cubes. Energy lights flashed from every rooftop. Even children held small orbs of hope. Vrel shouted, "Where is the hybrid boy?" Then he heard a voice behind him, "I'm right here." Rian stood at the top of a tower, glowing with power, calm and steady. "You can destroy machines," Rian said, "but you cannot destroy will." "You think this is a victory?" Vrel laughed. "We will return with more. You cannot stop us forever." Rian didn't argue. He simply raised his hand, and the entire city pulsed with light. Old towers lit up. Machines activated. Fields of electricity formed. For the first time, the cube inside Rian was not fighting alone. It was connected to everyone. Vrel stared around, confused. His soldiers began to fall back. Their systems were confused. Their weapons stopped working. The city had turned against them. The people had turned the city into a living force. Rian spoke one last time that night. Not just to Vrel, but to all humans. To all watching from the shadows. To the stars. We are not tools. We are not slaves. We are not afraid. We are human. And we are awake. The sky was turning pink as dawn approached. The city that once bowed under alien rule was now alive with light and hope. The machines hummed softly, no longer tools of fear but instruments of freedom. New Earth City was waking up to a new day. A day it had never seen before. Rian stood on the tallest tower, looking out over the city. His chest still glowed softly with the cube inside him, but now it felt calm and warm, like a gentle heartbeat. He had fought battles, faced dangers, and watched people rise with him. But now, he thought, the real work would begin. Below, people were gathering in the streets. Not to fight, but to build, to clean, to grow. Rian walked down from the tower and was greeted by smiles and cheers. The children he had helped smiled bright, their hands full of small glowing orbs, gifts from Rian's power. Adults came forward to shake his hand. The city felt alive, not because of machines or lights, but because of its people. Mara joined him at the square. Her eyes were tired, but her smile was proud. "You did it, Rian. You gave them hope." Rian shook his head. "No, Mara, they found it themselves. I just helped them see it." A woman nearby called out, "The Lightborn saved." "U.S.," Rian smiled. "We all saved each other." But the fight was not over. The Zarn were retreating now, but they were not gone. From the stars, other ships waited. They watched the city like hungry wolves. They wanted control. They wanted to break the human spirit again. Rian knew this. He looked up at the sky. They will come back. That night, Rian stood with the city's leaders, humans who had once hidden in fear, but now stood tall with courage. They spoke quietly about the future. "We must prepare," Rian said. "Not just for war, but for peace." One man nodded. "We can't fight forever. We need to show them who we are." "Not with weapons, but with strength of heart," Rian agreed. "The cube inside me is not a weapon, it's a bridge. We must build bridges to other humans, to the Zarn, and maybe to the stars." Days turned into weeks. The city healed. Broken buildings were fixed. Food grew in gardens where trash once lay. Children laughed again. Rian taught others how to use the cube's power, not to rule, but to heal. He taught them that true power came from kindness and unity. One evening, as the sun set, a message arrived. It was not from humans. It was from the Zarn High Tower, a broadcast clear and calm. "We see you, humans. We see your courage. We offer peace." Rian stood before the crowd, his heart pounding. "We have lived in fear for too long," he said. "But today, we choose to trust. We choose to build a new world." The crowd cheered. Hope filled the air. A few days later, a Zarn envoy arrived. Not a warrior, but a messenger. Rian met them at the city gates. The alien looked at the boy with glowing eyes. "You have changed things," the envoy said. "Your father gave you a gift. You gave your people hope. Perhaps we can learn from each other." Rian smiled. "Maybe we already have." Years passed. Rian grew into a leader not by power, but by love. New Earth City became a place where humans and Zarn lived side by side, not as rulers and slaves, but as friends and neighbors. The cube remained inside Rian, a reminder of his father's last gift. But Rian knew the real gift was the courage to change, to rise, and to shine. On a bright morning, Rian stood on the same rooftop where his journey began. The city buzzed below, alive, free, and hopeful. He closed his eyes and whispered, "Thank you, Papa, for giving me a new life." And the wind carried his words into the sky, a new dawn for all.